Now I'm going to go live later and I'm going to deal with people who have to deal with their neighbors who are dog owners. Because I always say, these are the worst types of neighbors you could possibly have. This video was recently uploaded. I would say within the past year at least. And a man is in his backyard and he is being threatened by his neighbor's dogs.
Is he telling that dog to shut up? I bet he isn't.
Okay, and the owners are inside the home recording it rather than going out there and shutting up their dog. You see that? He was about to walk away. Now he's standing up to him. He feels like he needs to stand up to him. Okay, then they walk away. They're being very aggressive.
Friend.
Is he gonna go pet the other dog? I bet he hasn't kicked the fence.
So they're sitting inside the house, recording it, projecting him as the perpetrator, as the aggressor.
I got it on video.
So the man kicked the fence. He was just being aggressive like the dogs were. He wasn't aggressive at first. The dogs were. And he responded by becoming aggressive. And they sat inside and recorded it. Now, people in the comment section calling them out. As they should. Look at this. Neighbor has every right to be able to enjoy his yard in peace. Just as you do without being barked at by dogs all day. People who can't take accountability for their dog don't need them. And of course, the dog owner was triggered. Look at what the owner said. He wasn't out in his backyard until I let the dogs out. He came out solely for the purpose of antagonizing my dog. Stop. Now, that was a quote that the dog owner, wrote. But they're not allowed to assume that. You can't assume that your neighbor came outside just because you let your dogs outside and then assume that they came outside to antagonize. What type of nonsense is that? People can go into their own backyard whenever they want. Okay? And the fact is, he's on his property. He's allowed to be in his backyard. And I believe the reason they're saying that is because they know that whenever their dog sees their neighbor, they're going to threaten and bark at them. And they're not going to do nothing about it. What this person said. Dogs have every right to protect their yard and bark if they want to as well. No, they don't. That's a threat. They're being threatening. They are killers and they can kill that man. And you don't have to accept that. We don't have to accept that. These are real threats. We don't have to look at this as something minor from a harmless creature. You saw how he stood up to it and they backed off. They might back off again if they one day hop the fence, as they're known to do. He could come out there one day and they're in his yard being aggressive. But because he's always stood up to them, they might be reluctant to attack. Y'all forced him into this situation, into this behavior. He's not forcing this onto your dogs. Somebody said, I hate dog owners who just let their dogs go out and scream at everyone. Control your dog. Your neighbor has every right to be in his yard without having some dog freaking out on him. You call him an idiot, yet you're standing there recording it, not being accountable for your dog. Bravo. Of course, the owner was triggered by the truth. I started recording when I saw the neighbor come outside and beeline for the fence solely for the purpose of antagonizing my dog. No, you released your dogs into the backyard because you know they're going to threaten anybody that comes into their own backyard. And y'all sit in there and allow it to happen. So these people fully aware that they terrorize their neighbors and they just don't care. Look at what they said. They're saying the dog didn't freak out until this person ran. They're claiming that the dog was sitting there peaceful. And when the man came out, he ran up to the fence threatening him. And then the dogs responded or reacted. What a liar. What a liar. And they're going to admit that they're lying about this. Look at this. Saying their dog has this weird thing with people. That if they leave him alone, he leaves them alone. No. They're saying that if you just accept the dog barking at you and don't respond or react or walk away, then the dog will feel like its barking made you walk away and it'll feel dominant over you. That's when it is more likely to attack you if it's ever on his property or jump over that fence or crawl under that fence. But they're attacking the neighbor that's being terrorized, saying he's just a miserable a-hole. No, it's you. It's you, and they don't get it. Not sure I blame them, someone else said. The dogs are acting aggressive to him while he's in his own backyard. Meanwhile, the cheesy, weak-kneed neighbors aren't doing anything but hiding behind their cell phones. And again, the dog owner is triggered by the truth, even had to edit it. They weren't being remotely aggressive. Listen to that. We all saw the video. Said, you know my dog, look at this. You'd know my dog was saying the equivalent of, hey person, what are you doing near my yard? No. That's your neighbor. They have a right to be in their backyard. Your dumb dog should know that if they're so intelligent and this is your neighbor. Why do they keep harassing the neighbor? Near my yard. That's why I say you can't use dogs for protection. How come they haven't gotten a message that this is not a threat? See how they think it's acceptable for their dogs to threaten their neighbors anytime they see them? It's okay. The dog is just saying, hey there, person, what are you doing near my yard? Brain dead people. This is antisocial behavior. Psychos. And they claim, again, until his neighbor charged the fence, at that point, the dog got defensive. That is a lie. Your stupid dogs was not sitting there minding their business. And that man just ran up to the fence where there's no dogs there, screamed over at your dogs, and then your dogs, stop it. But look at what they said. They again repeated that the neighbor came outside in their backyard after they released their dog. They claimed to antagonize their dog. Neighbor wasn't out there when I let the dogs out. He came out literally a minute earlier, or the dogs were released a minute earlier. Look what they said. He could have waited to go out there a few minutes after I brought the dogs back inside. So they expect you to stay inside your home when they let their dogs outside. They expected him to stay inside of his home until they brought their dogs back inside the home. That's the mentality of dog lovers. You got to bow down to them. Accept being terrorized. Right? Confined like house arrest. Stay inside. Don't come outside because my dogs are outside. You come outside, they're going to threaten you. And that's why they made this statement. Basically admitting that, hey, my neighbor knows that if my dogs see them, they're going to threaten and bark at them. Psychos. And I believe Phil McCracken here has left comments on my channel for a while. I've seen some of his comments before, if I'm not mistaken. Phil McCracken. I've had a number of people turn, and I've got several enemies. So, but I don't think I'm mistaken. Said, what did your neighbor do that was bad? Simple question. Excellent question. And they said, my dog was barking at another dog. A few houses over. This guy comes outside, beelines for the fence, and lunges towards stop. You can see the dog's body posture change to defensive. No, didn't change to no defensive. He stood up to it, and your dog backed off. Neighbor person then proceeds along the fence yelling, barking, and tries to kick the dog through the fence. No, it just kicked the fence. He knew he couldn't kick that dog. He kicked the fence. Responding to aggression with aggression. Your dog being aggressive is what started the problem. Said when his wife is outside working, the dogs don't bark at her. Whatever. It don't matter who your dogs choose to bark at. They shouldn't be barking at nobody, especially this your neighbor. This is harassment. And then he says, what's wrong with that? So it's all right for your dog to scream at the fence, but not the man? It's weird that you put this online to paint the guy in a bad light, but you are the person causing the scene originally. And I had to thumbs up that one. This person said, I'm sorry, but if I'm sitting in my yard and I have to put up with that barking all day, I would be upset too and trying to tell your dog to shut up. Again, the dog owner triggered by the truth and says, my dog isn't out there barking all day, and that guy wasn't outside when I let my dog out. Who cares? What type of twisted, weird entitlement is that? When my dogs are outside, you stay inside your home. Shut up. You're psycho. Shut up. Wow. So I need to talk about these people. And I need to talk about life. Our lives. Having to deal with these people as neighbors. Okay? Look for that live stream within the next hour or so.